So, so we have here a situation that has been going on for the past month or so regarding the Republic of the Philippines as to why the vice president has been concentrate concentrating her efforts on her father. She was not elected to be vice president of her father. She was elected to be vice president of the whole of the Philippines. Then why is she concentrating so much to her disgraced father in the meantime when the Philippines is being ransacked by uh, Bobong Marcos? I cannot understand that. Nor should the people of the Philippines just ignore that. You don't play by the heart. You know that it's been an illegal uh, detention and arrest of Duterte. You cannot do anything about it right now. Shouting and shouting about it and all that kind of you have your uh, equally illiterate lawyers that try and keep shouting, barking at the wrong tree. I don't understand what can the Supreme Court of the Philippines do, or the Congress of the Philippines do, when the citizen is already in the hands of the offenders, or whatever you can call them, ICC. You should have done it a long time ago. And mind you, Duterte, if he was tried in the Philippines, no matter how bad he was, he would still win. It's just like the same as Kibuloy, the unhinged pastor who's not only a criminal but also a pathological liar. He should not even be in the uh, lineup for candidacy to become senator. Never vote for somebody who's accused of being a rapist, of being a murderer, of being a human trafficker, and a money launderer, because that will spell doom. He lies and lies and lies and lie and lie and lie and lie until his death. He's just a guy who doesn't know reality. When you rape somebody, when you touch the personal vaginas of somebody, or you ask somebody to blow job your uh, penis, is not an underage too. It's not. Proper. Say the least. See, you're a pastor. You should stop doing that. But no, you even have to defend yourself on that one because you think you are doing things right. I don't know. You are probably uh, uh, misguided, to say the least. So in the meantime, Bobong Marcos is plundering even more the Philippines with his minions, cronies, and you know institutions that long before been established by his dad and now by himself. Second and third generation corruptions from all over. So on both cases, the followers of VP and VP Sara Duterte and her family are all freaking wrong. I mean, they should not even be doing that. Instead, concentrate on how to defend your father and Duterte Sara should not be concentrating on his dad because her dad is already in jail. You can no longer do that. And now you have 110 million Filipinos in the Philippines who needs your services as a vice president because you were elected as vice president. Yet you are in there. It's just a hopeless case of you being, you know, not in the right mind. And here comes the followers. They say they're from everywhere in the world. Yeah, only those who are do not include the people. 90% of people who are abroad too who don't like the 30. It's not everybody who does those demonstrations and all that. No, 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 no. Far from it. People like you and me who don't attend this type of uh, uh, demonstrations or whatever, because nothing will happen to that. It's just a waste of time, to be honest. There is nothing in there that can, you know, can change the outcome of the case. The case is already with ICC. Now, let me tell you about ICC. You know, the only complaint I have on this one is that they probably mistook the Philippines as a African country that's in disarray. Most of those who were jailed and who were uh, incarcerated were from the African nations. And if you go to Africa, those countries have no well-defined governments, meaning their ministries department doesn't work well, their police are corrupt, and the resources are being divided amongst those who are in power. I happen to know some of them, a personal at a personal level, but I cannot tell you who they are. But that's what I'm saying. They're far from being civilized than the Philippines. That's my complaint. Why are you comparing the Philippines to these countries, and even the ones that were Milosevic or whatever, Radek or whatever country they're from? They're not well organized countries like we do. We have established our government a long time ago, way back in the 1900s, or even before that, 1898 or 1900. But the ICC has misguided. They think that even if we are a third world country, you should realize that the Philippines is also a well defined. We have a Supreme Court. We have a working justice system, although it's corrupt at some point. But maybe that was the concern of ICC, that if Rodrigo Duterte was tried in the Philippines, he would just go free. And even then, even ICC right now, there were cases that were acquitted. I think four of them or five of them, and there were nine cases wherein the respondents died in incarcerated. Now, also, let me tell you that not all countries in the world believe in ICC. For example, Iran is not part of it, or China, or the United States, and Russia. Even if Putin is being just like Rodrigo Duterte, being he's a wanted person by ICC, but ICC would never dare go to Russia and arrest Putin. I don't think that would even happen in your dreams. So what I'm saying is that, you know, one, taba sara, half-breed Duterte, should concentrate on the country, not on his father. He was elect she was elected as vice president of the Philippines, not vice president of her father, Rodrigo Duterte. That's that's one thing. Let the ball rolling and do not interfere with that. Do you think ICC people at Hague like what you're doing? No. You're to them you're annoying and a waste of time. Concentrate on the Philippines. You have a lot of things to be done in the Philippines, like gas prices, like common goods, consumer goods like rice, like petrol. Everything in the Philippines is in disarray. Corruption here and there, and you should fiscalize. If I were you, your running mate, Bobong Marcos, who is who's very much unhinged and not fit to be a leader at all. He relies more on his minions, on his cronies, and his supporters, who are also very corrupt. It's something like if the government has $1, his compadres and under the table things of that dollar, he would take about maybe 60%. And then for the project itself, it's about 15%. And the rest of the money is divided by the lower caste individuals in government. So that's my one point. The second point is that there are so many candidates in that party that are very much not fit to run for an office in government. A case in point is Kibuloy, the pastor who is disgraced, who is not only unhinged but also unrelenting in his efforts to overthrow his cases, which to my mind is that he doesn't really understand, and his supporters, his lawyers are also as corrupt and as illiterate as him. When you're charged with rape, with murder, with trafficking, with laundering, those are high crimes. Should not even think about running for an office, because once he his point is, once he wins a seat in the Senate, he will try and open up his church, open up his uh, 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 a very disinformate disinformation type uh, mouthpiece, the SMNI, and also he would like to have his cases dropped just like that, knowing that he has a lot of crimes that he has committed, and so does everybody else. Like Marcoleta, he thinks that uh, the tradition is law, and that's the biggest bullshit I have ever seen from a man who is, beginning to unravel his personality. He was thinking that if Sarah was is being none, why is the other times previously it was not? Respect tradition, bullshit. You don't respect tradition. For one thing, tradition has to improve. Secondly, it's not the law. For example, iPhone 1, if you just respected tradition, would only always be iPhone 1, not 16. See a big improvement from iPhone 1 to iPhone 16. Marcoleta doesn't want that. So in everything he does, he always, support corruption of Sara Duterte, the millions that went missing, and it just is unreliable. You have there's an actor or whatever they are. You know, when you're acting, that's all you do in life. When you get to Senate, you're also acting. There's even one who changed his name to Robin Hood. Is he not dumb? Why would he do that? Why would he do that? It's because it's good for him to do that. In the Philippines, you don't do things like that because you're dumb. Instead of changing your name, you should pass a law. You should, sponsor law that would in a law that would serve the whole country, not just you or your minions. And so many other of his is there's another one. Rodriguez Vic is a bad man. He's just all mouth, and he's been a crybaby because he was trashed by the Marcos administration. Mm, and he's a crybaby. He's in there for revenge. If he gets elected, he whatever he's doing right now is just for revenge. So in the end, my point has been and always been the poor Filipino people who are being duped right, left, front, and center. Can you imagine that? Everything in there is in disarray. You should be, uh, be ashamed. Vietnam, who was devastated, and even in 1975, they didn't have a government that was strong. Look at them right now. The Philippines did not have any war in 1975. However, there was a corrupt person, the father of the present Bobong Marcos was there. Now, presently, Vietnam, if you go to Vietnam, or even if you go to countries like Malaysia or U.S., for example, you'll see products made in Vietnam. For example, clothes. Another example are furniture. And when you go to Vietnam right now, you'll see the difference. They're clean, their infrastructure is moving ahead, and unlike the Philippines, their corruption is minimal. A politician once said that if only the Philippines uh, will cut the corruption to maybe 50%, there will be progress. In countries like Sweden, United States, Norway, England, they have corruption too, but their corruption is only about 5 to 7%, and the rest are honest and for the country. It's the reverse in the Philippines. It's about 80% corrupt, 5% mismanagement, another 5% in wasteful deals, and you only have about 5 to 10% that goes to projects, to everything that a government should function. A government should function. Say, for example, this politicians once said that if the Philippines cut the corruption down to 50, you will have enough money to sustain a country that will be so progressive that everything you'll find in the country will be will be up to par, even Southeast Asia. For example, roads would be much better run. Hospitals would be there would be more hospitals with uh, functional equipments and staffed by professionals. You will have a government that will have food supply that is sustainable for the rest of forever, and you would have people in government who would be trusted in everything they do. But no, down to the security guard up to the highest of the levels are corrupt. Yes, that is how it is. The culture of corruption is all over, and it will not change unless somebody strong will, even even only for a few years, this things would stop. Philippines would tremendously, uh, tremendously improve. You know why I'm saying that is this. Remember, Japan has Mitsubishi, Honda, Toyota as exports, and you have America, IBM, military hardwares, and all that kind of stuff. Now, in the Philippines, we have that. We have human OFWs who earn money on a monthly basis and send all that money, about half to almost all of their money, to the Philippines. That remittance alone is a big, big boost to the monthly expenditure of the Philippines. Never mind the gold, the silver, the copper, the other exports that the Philippines has. Never mind that. But look at that. It will help a lot of the Philippines. Also, look at this. The natural resources of the Philippines are great, but who benefits that? Foreign companies and everything else. Oil is being extracted right now, but by a foreign company. Only a small portion of that exploration goes to the country, and so that's fish, abaca, hemp, sugar, and all that kind of stuff. Only a few people benefit from that. That's why you only see, you know, uh, these big corporations, Philippine, and these big people in the Philippines. They don't care about you being poor. The hell with you. They won't have charities as big as Catholic charities that will help, uh, orphans or old age pensioners alone on themselves. It's hard. Anyway, I should end this stream and do one more tomorrow, I guess. Okay. Have a good day. Take care. Be good. God bless.